Put another way, we stop worrying about the return on investment when the investment is zero. In the old days of IT, you'd make a business case for buying something, you'd go to your boss would say, yes, I sign off on this, you can have the money, you'd go buy the servers. Well, that was because you were expected to predict the return on your investment. If your investment is zero, you can just go do it. If it doesn't work out, you're out a couple $100, no big deal. And so we stop worrying about the return on investment when the investment becomes zero, and that changes how we behave as an organization. Clouds, because of that, are a license to experiment. It means we can try a lot of different things. Clouds give us the ability to experiment with different properties we're going to launch, different ways of computing, different approaches, and then kill the ones that aren't working. In the old days, the IT infrastructure that you had was kind of like a barrier to entry. It's kind of like a castle wall. If you were a bank, for example, how much money you could lend was a function of how well you could analyze that risk. And you analyze risk in a bank using mathematical methods. One of them is called a Monte Carlo simulation. It's where you do risk analysis to try and figure out how much of your loans are going to default and that kind of stuff. You can do better simulations when you have more machines. So if you're a bank with 20,000 machines, you know what your risk is like, and the government will let you lend more multiples of your money. That's great because if I get 20,000 machines, I know that nobody who can't afford 20,000 machines is going to start competing with me. So infrastructure, IT infrastructure, was kind of like castle walls, right? It was this barrier you put up that prevented other people from attacking you. Clouds are kind of like gunpowder. Now, instead of having these castle walls that defend you, you're kind of managing this museum that's crumbling and expensive. There are now private banks starting up that use tens of thousands of Amazon machines to do their risk simulations for a couple of hours at a time, and then go back to being an office with notebooks. And they are just as competitive as big banks, except they're not spending money on large IT teams and large data centers. And this is happening not just in banking, but in finance and in healthcare and in architectural modeling and in genomics. Every single industry. Architecture firms are springing up saying, I can do architectural structural engineering of a bridge that I couldn't have done before, and now I can bid on much bigger skyscraper contracts. So every industry is being attacked by this because this traditional barrier to entry is crumbling. So ultimately what we see here is this rebalancing of IT because of these tremendous benefits: elasticity, on-demand payment, the tearing down of barriers to entry, the ability for anybody to start like a rogue organization. And so it's not like we're seeing, okay, we're done now, but we're seeing that big organizations are having to adopt and rebalance this stuff. So we see the bare metal on one side, some kind of a virtualized approach where you've got your own stuff running, public and private hybrid models that connect public infrastructure and private infrastructure, infrastructure as a service, platform as a service, and then a set of services out there that are RESTful or mashups. And some companies that are new are starting over on the right-hand side of the screen. They're building platform and infrastructure stuff. Older companies are trying to leverage their existing infrastructure but make it more efficient and ultimately probably not buy it at next purchase cycle but see what they can move into the cloud. So on the left, you're going to see data centers. In the middle, you're going to be managing contracts. And over on the right, you're going to be giving developers a set of tools to work with the platforms that are out there that they can provision themselves. Now, cute dog. Now, that also means that you've got this older set of technologies that are kind of lonely and they're never going to be able to migrate, and you're always going to have to keep them in-house. So your mainframes aren't going to go away. Your existing legacy applications are going to stay in-house. Some things that are dependent on the network for working or that require a certain kind of database, they're not going to go anywhere. That's fine. On the other hand, applications that are highly parallel, that allow you to do lots of things at once concurrently and very quickly, are great candidates for moving to the cloud.